We are back to the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Before I get into the segment about the Blazers going on strike, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge some of the comments that I see in the stream right now. Crucial PG said that he was waiting on Portland versus Houston. That's a very interesting game to be waiting on. I personally do not see the appeal on Portland going against Houston whatsoever. That's me. And that game just doesn't sound interesting in my opinion. There's not really much players, since Damian Lillard's not on Portland anymore, there's not really much players that I would want to watch on Portland. That rookie doesn't really impress me that much, and I'm also not a big fan. I mean, Sengun is a great player. I'll give it that. I don't mind watching Sengun play sometimes. He's a great player to watch. I'm not a big fan of Dylan Brooks, so I don't really watch a lot of his games. Crucial PG also mentioned in the chat, Rookie of the Year, in his opinion, should be Leaky Black from Charlotte. Obviously, Leaky Black is definitely not going to win Rookie of the Year. He's one of the least talked about rookies in the market right now. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama, 100%, without a doubt. No questions about that. And let's move on to the fourth segment where we talk about the Blazers going on strike after the results of losing the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Blazers, they recently played against them in a very close game where they were up by 1 point towards the very end, but a Portland player ended up getting called for a double dribble. Chauncey and company got very upset because they feel that the ref missed the call for the timeout. And because of this, it resulted in Chauncey getting a double technical, which then resulted in Oklahoma getting a free throw. Now, because of this free throw, it allowed Oklahoma to tie the game, which eventually put them in striking distance tie game, which allowed them to take a 2-point jumper for the win. J-Dub is the player that ended up hitting the game-winning shot. And the team plans, after this loss, after this egregious missed call, according to them, the team plans to file a protest with the league. This kind of shifts the talk away from Jalen Williams hitting the game winner. Shai once again drops 33 points in the win, despite all the talk behind this protest over the league. This does take away from Jalen Williams and his game winner, along with Shai. A lot of these protests have been taking away from a lot of these players having really big games. Like, for example, with the Pacers and what they did with Giannis Antetokounmpo and the game ball, that got more attention than Giannis actually having a great game and having a career game. That got more focus on and got more attention by the media than the game ball and losing the game ball. It got more focus from media than the actual good game that Giannis had, and if he actually deserved the ball, which in my opinion, he definitely did if you look at the numbers. Now, the odds of them even getting their protest to have a worthy listening is almost zero. There's almost no point in doing this protest if you are the Portland Trail Blazers. You are a team that's in the bottom side of the Western Conference. No team has really protested like this after a game before. Most of the time in the games, the fans are the ones that are protesting over the team. So I haven't seen a team attempt this before, especially a team that's fighting for a top pick in the draft. I don't really see a point in Portland doing this move as of right now because it's why? There's no need for it. You're a bottom team in the Western Conference right now, and right now you're just causing drama and more distraction for the team. Focus on getting your team to get the wins rather than blaming your losses on outside dilemmas that you can't control. If teams start protesting in a lot of these games, I believe that this is a step in a bad direction because If teams start protesting in games that already have happened, that's just going to bring delay in the season with unnecessary talk and unnecessary drama with games that already happen. It's like, what is a player, or what is a team, what is a referee, what is a crew expected to do to change the results of a game that was poorly officiated? It was like, it's not as simple as football, where in football you could replay the down right then and there, or just flat out change the results of the game because of the bad call from the down, if that makes sense. Like, we can take the Detroit versus the Dallas Cowboys game in the regular season as an example. The Lions ended up converting the down, and we saw them convert the down, but the down was called back. They could just reset that and give them the down, so that way they could win the game. That's how simple it is in football. But for basketball, where every possession counts, and every possession could be played differently, doing this protest at the end of the game is just silly, in my opinion, because imagine if this happens to, like, in the playoffs, and, like, you decide to just protest while you're in the middle of trying to win the series. It's like, you can't necessarily protest every single time. It's, again, I don't like to mention football, but football has done this a lot. The Bills, they recently protested the overtime rules, and they ended up getting those rules changed. Now, again, that's a little bit different, because they protested for after the game and for the next season. Doing something to change the results directly and to impact the season negatively for a team that essentially didn't do anything wrong is unfair. And I personally don't like where this is going, because if other teams decide to call if the other teams decide to go on strike like this, then it could just slow down the league. Like, imagine if the Lakers go on strike. Like, nobody is going to want to talk about that. Nobody's going to like that. That's going to be the talk for like a whole week, and nobody is going to like that. They're going to just put all the crying memes with LeBron, like, when he's crying, like, he's making a big deal out of something that, like, is essentially nothing, which is what Portland is doing. And it especially doesn't help. Like, this is something, the Lakers didn't even do this, and they've had several games where they could do this. They could go on strike, and where they could make these claims that, like, they should have won these games, but they ended up not winning these games. Like, for example, when they went up against the Timberwolves, and LeBron allegedly took a 2-pointer instead of taking a 3-pointer, which in my opinion was definitely a 3-pointer, without a doubt a 3-pointer, but I digress. That game was it ended up being a Lakers loss simply because that wasn't a 3-pointer. So imagine if they went on strike then. Nobody would drop that. I'm pretty sure I would be talking about it now still if that would have happened. Nobody would have dropped that. But that's just my opinion on that sort of little segment where they go on strike. Once again, something that shouldn't really happen. I don't think that nothing is going to come out of it. It's just something that should be glossed over. And with that, we are out of time with this 4th segment. Thank you all for tuning in to this live stream of the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Nelson, and as always, I like to remind you guys before I go to please tip and donate. Makes the show a lot more interactive between myself, the host, you guys, the viewers. The link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, if you'd like to become a member, if you like the video, please don't forget to like. Please do not forget to subscribe. And as always, take care.